In the early 90s, Charlie Sheen starred as Topper Harley in the Hot Shot movies. Hilarious spoof movies where he plays a man of action who fights to save the day so he can be with his true love, Ramanda, played by Valeria Golino. And it's the comedic chemistry and timing of both Sheen and Golino that totally makes these movies stand out in the genre of spoof movies, where we have Hot Shots, which is a spoof of Top Gun, and Hot Shots Part Deux, which is a spoof of Rambo. Yep, two great movies from a time when the only positive that Charlie Sheen was positively funny. So today we're exploring Hot Shots, both of them, by looking into 10 things that you didn't know about these movies. Needless to say, these films have great comedic Tyson, so let's check it out. This is Hot Shots. Not to be confused with Hot Shits, which is what happens after you eat a lot of very spicy food. Let's check it out.
War. It's fantastic.
Number 10, Going It Alone. Hot Shots was co-written and directed by Jim Abrams, and he was no stranger to the spoof genre, as he previously co-wrote and co-directed Airplane, Top Secret, and The Naked Gun. Those previous movies were projects made with his partners Jerry and David Zucker, with their partnership being known as Zucker, Abrams and Zucker, otherwise known as Zaz. However, when it came to Hot Shots, Abrams broke away from the Zuckers to go at it alone, and now make a spoof movie of his own entire creation. Now, he had already previously broken away from his Zaz partnership to direct the comedy drama Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael, but that movie was a box office bomb. So for Hot Shots, he was returning to the tried and tested spoof movie format, only this time without his successful Zaz partnership. But yeah, Hot Shots is still connected to Airplane, Top Secret, and The Naked Gun, which does make me happy. And so while making Hot Shots for 20th Century Fox, David Zucker was making The Naked Gun 2.5 The Smell of Fear with Paramount Pictures. By reports, it seems that the Zaz partnership broke up in the 90s because it was felt there was, quote, too many guys sitting in the same chair. So it seems that they all went into their own directions. After all, the previous year, Jerry Zucker directed Ghost, which was a complete change of genres. Although Jim Abrams was still an executive producer on the second two Naked Gun movies, but clearly he didn't play as much of a role in the creation of those movies as the previous ventures with the Zuckers. Number 9. There was, however, another comedy genius involved in Hot Shots. So Airplane was a spoof of the aviation disaster movie trope of the 70s. Top Secret was a spoof of Elvis movies mixed in with the spy genre, and The Naked Gun was a spoof of crime and police dramas. Well, Hot Shots was definitely a spoof of Top Gun. I mean, just look at the two movies' logos. You don't need a PhD in the art of funny shit to figure this out. Both the Hot Shot movies spoofs real-life tensions of that time, where in the early 90s conflicts were rising with Saddam Hussein, which was very much a prominent theme in the Hot Shot movies. Joining Abrams for writing duties was Pat Proft, who was also no stranger to comedy, having previously co-written Police Academy, Real Genius, and the 3 Naked Gun movies. He would also act as Hot Shots executive producer. Number 8. The origin of the name Topper Harley. So in Hot Shots, Charlie Sheen, who was a big rising star at that time, plays Topper Harley, a comical take on the Maverick character from Top Gun. Incidentally, the name Topper Harley comes from a Harley-Davidson scooter, which makes the name even more hilarious. The very beautiful Italian actress Valeria Golino starred as Ramanda. And in the famous scene where she catches an olive in her mouth from her belly button, well, that was actually done for real. Yep, no trickery there. Leslie Nielsen was originally offered to play Admiral Benson. However, Nielsen supposedly said to Abrams that he already has made enough spoof movies with him. where George C. Scott was then supposedly cast but then dropped out. So Lloyd Bridges got the role instead, who previously worked with Abrams on Airplane. The film also features John Cryer as Jim, who, as we all know, would go on to star with Charlie Sheen in 2.5 Men, and Carrie Elwes as Kent, because, well, Carrie Elwes, I guess. What else can I say? Carrie Elwes. Number 7. Bizarre filming locations. Yeah, the locations for Hot Shots were a bit non-conventional to say the least. A great deal of the movie was actually filmed at a funeral home, be that Hollywood Forever Cemetery in San Diego. The aircraft carrier where the movie takes place was actually filmed on a wooden deck that was constructed on the edge of a cliff at a deserted marine facility. Special filming techniques were used to make it look like the location was at sea. Some early promotional materials of Hot Shots claim that Saddam Hussein himself was actually starring in the movie, which of course was a joke. But it does make you wonder if some people actually out there thought, oh wow, they actually got him to star in this comedy movie. The part was actually played by American actor Jerry Halliver. And not only does he return for Hot Shots Part Deux, but he would actually play Saddam Hussein in several other movies, including The Big Lebowski, Jane Austen's Mafia, The First $20 Million is Always the Hardest, and Live from Baghdad. So yeah, he seemed to be the Hollywood go-to guy when it came to Saddam Hussein. Number 6. Hot Shots Hot Ticket. If you can believe it, Hot Shots was chosen to be screened for the UK's 1991 Royal Film Performance, which was attended by the Queen and Princess Diana. I just would love to know what Her Majesty thought of the movie, or if she had any idea what she was going to see. Hot Shots had its mainstream release in July 1991 and was actually very financially successful, bringing in over $181 million on a $21 million budget, with it opening up in the #1 spot in the box office, with it becoming the 18th highest grossing movie of 1991, but it still couldn't beat Abrams' rivals, the Zuckers, and their movie, The Naked Gun 2.5 The Smell of Fear, which was the 10th highest grossing movie of that year. But really, what does it matter? Neither one of them could beat Terminator 2 Judgment Day, so, you know. The movie also got positive reviews, with praises going to the comedic chops of both Charlie Sheen and Valeria Golino. So with Hot Shots being a hit, a hot smash if you will, Jim Abrams and Pat Proft would waste no time getting to work on a sequel. Number 5. Getting Stallone's approval. Okay, so now we're on to Hot Shots Part Deux, which in my opinion is the better movie. I mean really, from start to finish, I find this movie to be hilarious. So this time Hot Shots is spoofing the Rambo movies, particularly 2 and 3. Richard Crenna, who plays Troutman in the Rambo movies, stars in Hot Shots Part Deux as Colonel Waters, which is actually a very similar part. In fact, it is pretty much spoofing Troutman. And before filming started, Crenna actually approached Stallone and asked him if he would be okay to star in a Rambo parody. And thankfully, Stallone was a-okay with it. He was like, "Hey, man, sounds good, go star in the movie." A few years later, Stallone was asked if there was any plans to make a Rambo 4, where he felt the notion was so ridiculous, he laughed and said, "Why don't you ask Charlie Sheen to star in it?" Yeah, it was all fun and games till he finally did make a Rambo 4. And 5. Ugh. Number 4. Trials and Dilemmas of the Main Stars. Sheen was aware that he was now playing a Rambo-inspired character and would have to spend most of the movie in a singlet, and he had a fear that people would be watching the movie at the premiere and laughing about how puny he looked. So he trained hard, like really hard. According to IMDb, he would work out up to 8 hours a day. And it worked! Dude is buff as hell in this movie. When it came to his fight scenes in the Hot Shot movies, well, going back to IMDb, Sheen got help from dance choreographer Paula Abdul, who was married to his brother Emilio Estevez at the time. Valeria Golino returns too, and once again her comedic timing with Sheen is really on point, maybe even more so this time. I mean, it's these two who really make these movies. Although apparently during the shoot, production had to shut down for a while as she got gout. However though, she still describes Hot Shots Part 2 as the best experience of her career. Number 3. Finding the President. So a huge focus on Hot Shot Part 2 is the President, who is shown to be so incompetent on the account that he's lost his marbles and lost the plot too, leading to many funny and outrageous moments. Originally, Jim Abrams wanted Marlon Brando in the role, which, yeah, okay, he could have been funny in the role, but it didn't end up happening. So Lloyd Bridges was yet again brought back as Tug Benson, but this time he was the President. It's kind of funny that in both movies, Bridges was a replacement for other actors. Hot Shots Part 2 actually has a lot of famous guest stars, including Martin Sheen, who reprises his Willard character from Apocalypse Now, Miguel Ferreira as Harbinger, and Rowan Atkinson as Dexter. A short but funny performance. And yes, there's probably more, and I know that if I don't list every single actor in a movie, that makes some people angry, but remember, it's just meant to be a fun video, okay? It's not a dick. So there's no need to take it so hard. Number 2. Title Shenanigans. Now going back to IMDb, yeah, it's all about IMDb today. The movie's original title was Hot Shots Part 2, The Exploitation, Taking It to the Bank, which, although is a funny title, was probably too much of a mouthful, so it just simply became Hot Shots Part 2. Deux being the French word for two. However, when the movie was released in Australia, it was actually called Hot Shots 2. But when released on home video here, it was then given its proper title of Hot Shots Part 2. I don't know why here it was originally called Hot Shots 2. Maybe they thought that down here we're all too stupid to know what deux means. And of course, given that the movie was made in the early 90s, there's a lot of references of that time period, like the Energizer Bunny, Basic Instinct, a Dustbuster, which Saddam Hussein uses on his, weapons of mass destruction, and a Terminator 2 joke, where Hussein freezes and smashes into pieces, but heat causes the pieces to liquefy and reform where he becomes half dog. Okay, stop laughing. The only reference I didn't get was the Star Wars one. I mean, yeah, it's funny, but Star Wars was over 10 years old at that point. Oh well, what are you gonna do? It's still funny. It is also said that the set that was used for Saddam Hussein's palace is also the same set that was used for Tony Montana's mansion in the movie Scarface, only of course repackaged for Hot Shots Part 2. Number 1. Deux, what needs to be deux. Hot Shots Part 2 was released in July 1993, and this time there was a slight drop in numbers, as it made $131 million on its $25 million budget, which, yeah, is smaller than the first movie's intake of $181 million, but it was still a success nonetheless, and although it didn't get the same level of praise as the first movie, it still got fairly good reviews. It's no secret that I think Part 2 is definitely the better movie of the two. In fact, I've spoken to many other Hot Shots fans, all of whom agree that Hot Shots Part 2 is the funniest movie and the better movie in general. I've even had some people say that when they think of Hot Shots, they tend to immediately think of that second movie, and I agree. I think in time it's definitely become more iconic. So to me, this really is a case where the sequel is better than the original. For me, there is one reason, and one reason alone, that makes Hot Shots Part 2 one of the funniest movies of all time. And that is the limo driver. Oh, that damn limousine driver. Where we see Topper and a babe getting it on in the back of a limousine, where their driver starts watching, and it starts with him peeking, and then it just blows out of proportion from there to the stage where he's filming them and eating popcorn while wearing 3D glasses. The joke builds up perfectly and never feels like it drags on too much. I can remember watching this scene as a little kid when Hot Shots Part 2 was broadcast on TV and finding it to be painfully funny. Like, I was in pain from laughing at all of this. I'm still laughing now as I'm trying to read the damn script for this episode. But the joke doesn't end there. Later, when we see the characters in the act, our peeping Tom limousine driver returns. And once again, it feels like a perfect, justified comedy build-up that doesn't outstay its welcome. Seriously, they should have given the limo driver his own movie. And to me, this is why Hot Shots Part Deux is a comedy masterpiece. The comedy is both excellently written and delivered by the actors, and it is the perfect movie to watch if you're ever feeling a bit sad or a bit down, and you just need a good old laugh to pick you up. Both the Hot Shot movies are definitely a good time. So once again, the Hot Shots movies are examples of spoof movies done right. And I do have faith that one day, the spoof genre will return and we'll get great spoof movies again. The only sad part of this exploration is the recent passing of Jim Abrams, where sadly he passed away in 2024. But he'll always have a long-lasting legacy in cinema. One that will last forever. And say what you want to say about Charlie Sheen, but he was really freaking funny in those movies. Anyway, I'm Minty, and the other day I went to buy some groceries and had to stand in a really long line. But although this line I was standing in was really long, it still wasn't as long as the one Charlie Sheen snorted in the 90s. Just a joke. See ya!